Welcome back. So, until ES 2025, sets only had the four methods that we just learned about that are has, add, delete, and clear. So, sets weren't really that useful, and actually, I never really used them personally for anything. But now that's changing because in ES 2025, sets got seven more methods, which makes them a lot more useful, especially when used together with arrays. Also, these new methods bring sets more on pair with the sets in other programming languages where they are actually an important data structure. So let's briefly now take a look. Now here in this demo, we are actually going to use two data structures that was present in our code, that is these two Italian foods and then Mexican foods. Let's copy these two and paste there. Copy and then paste here. Now here, for suppose we have an application that contains these foods. So some Italian foods and some Mexican foods. And then in that application, we needed to find out which ingredients are present in both of the Italian and the Mexican cuisine. So just by cooking at this here, basically by just reading the code, we see that here the tomatoes, for example, is present here. And here also, it was present in both Italian and Mexican foods. And the same is true for garlic, also present in both of these two. Now we want a programmatic way of finding these common elements in two sets. Let's now use the first new method, which is the intersection method. So now let's create a new variable here called common foods. That is equal. Let's use the Italian foods. And now we call the intersection. And here we use Mexican foods. Now this intersection is between this set and then this set. So basically here we could have called Mexican foods intersection and then pass in the Italian foods. So the result of the intersection method is a new set, which will contain only that are present in both of the sets. Now let's log this into console, right? Console.log. Here I am giving intersection and then give common code. Now let's see the result. Reload. See here it is displayed intersection and then set of two tomatoes and garlic. These two Italian and Mexican present in these tomatoes and then garlic, these two intersection points. And now what if we want an array like this, means console.log, right? And then use the spread operator here, right? Common foods. Now let's see the result. Here see that we have an array of these two tomatoes and then garlic. So actually this is extremely useful when we are working with arrays, which is a way more common data structures than sets. So many times in our application we are working with arrays, not with sets. With the reference we can easily convert arrays to sets and sets to arrays. So finding the elements that are common in two arrays is actually a pretty common task. And before this new set of operations were added to the language, we had to build our custom solutions with something like a filter method. But now we can simply use the intersection method like this. All we would have to do if we had some arrays would be convert them to a new set like this. Now let's go for the union method. So this one will give us all the elements that are present in either of the sets, or in other words, all the elements of both sets but without any duplicates. So now let's create a new variable here. Const. I'm giving the variable name Italian Mexican fusion. Then this is equal. Here we have without any duplicates. So Italian foods dot union and then Mexican. Now let's log this into console. Console.log union Italian execution. Let's see the result. Let's see, we get everything here with a set of 10. Here tomatoes are present in only once, and then garlic are also present in only once. Here all the elements are presented in a unique way, no duplicates are present. Now here we have another way of writing this. That is, first we need to combine all these two sets, and then after we need to union this. Let's write for the console.log Italian foods and then Mexican foods. Now let's see the result. See here we have a combination of these two sets, that's we have 12. Here see these tomatoes, and we have in again tomatoes also, and then garlic also. See here. Now we want to union these two items. For that, let's write here set. Let's reload. See set of 10, that is without duplicates, and as the union method and this method have the same result. Now if we want an array, simply write like this, and then here close. Reload. See here it is an array of 10. Now let's move on to the difference method. So the difference method gives us a new set which will contain all the elements that are present in the first set but not in the second one. Now let's write that const unique Italian foods is equal Italian foods dot using difference Mexican foods. Let's write console.log difference write unique Italian foods. Reload. Here we see that it displayed pasta, gnocchi, olive oil and basil, which are Not common ones in these two sets, that are tomatoes and garlic, are common ones. Basically, here in this example, the difference removes the elements from this Italian food set, which are common. Now let's try this for Mexican foods. You will get the different result. In Mexican, that is Mexican foods dot difference, then Italian foods. Let's log this into console.log. Difference Mexican. Unique Mexican foods. Now let's see the result. See here, the difference method removed the common ones, that are tomatoes and garlic, and has displayed the remaining ones, that are tortillas, beans, rice, and avocado. These four that is displayed. So this is the usage of a difference method. And now let's move on to the symmetric difference, and this one will give us all the elements that are present in either set but not in both. So basically this is the opposite of intersection method. It will give us the result as unique Italian foods and unique Mexican foods. Now let's see the symmetric difference. For that, let's write const unique Italian Mexican, that is equal Italian foods dot symmetric difference, and then Mexican foods. Let's log this into console.log. Copy this. Let's see the result. Reload. Here we have the result of these two, Italian of set 4 plus Mexican. Now here we have again three more methods. So the three methods that we still have to check, or some methods that we can use it, is one of the sets contains the other sets. So these sets are called as subset of and or superset of and is disjoint form. Let's check using one of them, which we can use to check whether one set is completely different from other set. So this one is called the disjoint form. Now let's write here console.log without creating any variable, Italian foods dot is disjoint Mexican foods. Now here, if one set does not contain any elements of the other set. Now here in this case, we already know that they have some elements in common. So for that reason, we have here false. So this is a false. Now this is all about all these methods, and make a practice of subset of and then superset of. You will get the result as a boolean for those also. So this is all about the session. We'll continue in the next lecture. Thank you.